I confirm, I consider all the people who have attacked me complete idiots, retarded people, on a higher spiritual level, totally retarded. Um, and it's very simple. We all have been living a wonderful life, and it's quite possible even the COVID would not have happened. But, you know, idiocy is painful to all. Um, it's Sunday. Um, I went to the Holy Mass in the morning. I woke up around 4 o'clock and I got busy with what's around. I checked the internet. I checked what would appear on my YouTube site. Um, then I listened to Aha. I still listen to Aha. I think that there's so much pressure on me stopping listening Aha that even though I know they are involved in the crime, I keep on listening. Um, because I know there's someone behind it. So, in case you are suggesting that it's actually Aha who has been working on destroying me from the very beginning, especially Morten Harker, then know that I do not believe it. Although I know that they have participated, I mean, you can have no doubt, the double, I believe it's a double. One of the doubles created the video, or at least took part in the creation of the video clip, where the transvestite has my nipples. So, I mean, can you possibly be more hostile? So, I've been spending this time trying to get oriented as to what's been going on. And I also believe, there's this romance of Morten Harker happening, and I believe that this woman was also connected to Magdalena, the sucker, the political sucker. So, she works first she worked for Cichocki, then she worked for Szczurek. So first all the uniform forces, and then which I have confused with which I confused at one point with special forces. So I believe I have promoted Jacek Cichocki a bit, the last person to be promoted actually. I don't know which is more powerful, but I do believe that special forces are more powerful than the uniform forces, including the armed forces. And then the finance. But I think it's Dobrawa Murzyńska. So she started with Donald Tusk, I guess. And I think she's also connected to Anna Maria Liopek, who has been welcomed warmly in China, in the People's Republic of China. So there are connections everywhere. I had a say on Svetlana Medvedev yesterday. I know she has entered some agreements with Dior, and I believe that Rihanna's employment and attack on me was a part of the agreement. That's really pathetic and small, so I willy-nilly I have to look down on her. I mean, when there's a private person and the wife of the president of Russia, and the wife of the president of Russia is so scared of this little Paul getting interested in her husband that she employs Rihanna to destroy her, then it's really pathetic and makes one laugh. But to all appearances, that's exactly what she's done. So I gave her a proper say yesterday. Um, and basically, that's my attitude to all those politicians who are, this. You see the caliber actually. This is total smallness. This is dwarfish, and this is ridiculous. Because obviously they are empowered with all the structures, command chains, etc. So this is not really the caliber of the person. This is simply the arrangement. And considering the arrangement, I had no money or employment blocked, the body destroyed. I mean, my God, how scared were you of me? You were even scared of my children. So you made it impossible for me to bear children, which is one of the reasons why the verdicts are so strong. I mean, you blocked life, you blocked survival. So what did you expect? And all the pedophile nonsense, for goodness sake. And that makes you look down on the people who are on the top positions, obviously. Especially that some of us do have the experience of leadership and know how we have related to other people and how we have related to protests or whatsoever other non-optimum situations or endangerments. So perhaps one could claim that, well, if you have reacted, if you have responded as I have done, you wouldn't have been in all that trouble. But I believe that it's good to establish good practice rather than go from one tyranny into another, because all tyrannies fall down sooner or later, and this is, I mean, you cannot change it. You have made your lot, that's all. So this situation is really absurd. I'm thinking of my queendom because it has found, I have found myself in a very peculiar situation. So I'm not letting it go. I'm still taking the power over it because it's been a calling. I have been called upon to start working on it. So this is empowerment actually in a different sense, in the sense of responsibility. And in terms of, this is beyond this planet. I am aware of it. And I must say that it's very frustrating for me to really see the vision of the war that will probably be the consequence of the attacks fire at me and the destruction done to me and my mother and our life. So I have certainly not been prepared for a war. Or perhaps I have been, perhaps I'm really exactly the person. But I don't feel comfortable with those pictures and the development of the situation. On the other hand, I cannot let it go like that. So this is really difficult. I'm trying to find someone I can turn to for advice, but there's really no one. I look at Elizabeth I, but it's a difficult situation now, considering the problems with the royal family. But then, the royal family has compromised England really, so I'm not sure if they do have the support. It's quite it's difficult to talk about it, but there are so many things that one has never expected one could be living. And the disaster is terrible, the damage is terrible, and the life is the life is just unbearable. But I'm trying to do my best. So today I went to the Wawel Royal Cathedral again, and it was so great to be there again, to visit Queen Jadwiga, Queen Hedwig, Queen Jadwiga of Poland. Um, she she's the person I turn to. Well, I mean, Elizabeth the First was first, but she's here in Poland, so I had to go there to see the Jagiellonians because of the of the new knowledge concerning Our Lady of Częstochowa. So we need to put it in order. I mean, we cannot be under Russia after all. In the spiritual sense, as slaves, to make things worse. So I believe that when I go there, it's not that someone speaks to me. Jesus has spoken to me from the cross. But I believe that it's just somehow this awareness becomes this is a spiritual meeting, and this is the presence, some kind of confirmation. I am here, and I have my queen, though, because I have told you about that, and I don't think I have experience as the ruling monarch. I don't remember the past lives, but I do not think I have one. I think I have been very close to power, but not the person who had to decide and be responsible for. I mean, at that level, of course. I have the recurring vision of the child, actually, that never grew up, because I was dying at an early age all the time. But perhaps this is some misidentity or whatever, some confusion. But that seems to be very strong, because it evokes strong feelings. So I believe it might have been that. On the whole, I cannot somehow put it in order conceptually, because I know I need to get out of the routine thinking and somehow get a different view. I also feel like I have this thrust for living, but then in the physical condition it's so difficult. Perhaps I need to break through it somehow, and somehow enforce this monk-like or nun-like discipline on myself, and somehow do it regardless of all the suffering that I'm going through throughout the day, and well, especially in the evening. The evenings are the worst when I go to bed. Normally, when I would go to bed, I was so happy, and there was, the peace and quiet, and the dreams. Calmness. It was great, and now it's a nightmare. I know that I'm going for suffering, so I'm trying to postpone the moment of lying in bed normally. but then I fall asleep. Sometimes I wake up and it's usually a stress. So I'm not sure what's happening at night, but overall it's a complete ruin of life. Still, I'm thinking about future, and I'm trying to create this possible vision of me being free again and having my own body, my own natural body, and going back into life. And this is how I think of possible life being back and being, living, having friends, meeting people, falling in love, and getting married, having children, and so on. But this is really a kind of vision for the future that I cannot speak of now, because I cannot see how it can happen at all, that I'm leaving the state I'm in now, and this seems so unreal. But I believe in the spiritual life, so in those terms, all the physical phenomena are, in a way, are a different reality, so to say. But then, of course, if you think of, I don't know, relationships, well, even if you think of friendship, perhaps two spirits can fly away, but then it's much better to go for a walk. Or, I don't know, when I recall some friendships from my early childhood, I recall one gypsy girl who is this connection with gypsies. I had at an early age that was friendly, and we would take a dog for a walk. Her name was Bibi, and she would run freely, and we would run with her in the fields. So this is my vision, more or less. And then it has been, the gypsies have turned against me, and I don't know what it is about. But I was wondering that perhaps I was in some India, in the ancient India, that I might have been a part of the royal family, responsible for possible extermination of gypsies at the time. Because I believe this is what is, or mass murder, perhaps not extermination, perhaps only mass murder. But there are not so many of them, so it might be, and they are, overall, they are very covered hostility, if you use the Scientology term. So I believe there is something in it. This is exactly like the black issues. So you think they are friendly and so on, but there's this past of slavery in them, and they are really covered hostility. Genetically, and I believe this is the same. The same is true about Romans. So I think this is why they somehow genetically have attacked me and have kept on attacking me, because there's no reason in our relations really. So it's I think that it is possible that I might have been a member of the family. I certainly have some spiritual roots in India. There's no doubt about it. But on the other hand, I don't feel comfortable with the bodies. So I mean, I'm not attracted to the bodies and so on. So I don't know. Perhaps we look differently. I don't know. Well, we don't know so much, and from the current perspective, the things that you learn, for example, when I think of the things you might learn in auditing, in the Scientology auditing, so much of it must be not true. And this is hair-raising. Like, I'm pretty certain that the Church of Scientology has stolen my time track. Uh, Whatever you call it, if you call it just a time track or the router, or perhaps basically my life. So it means that if they have stolen mine, they must have put someone else's in. And I believe they have done it all the time. They have been doing it all the time, and they have been doing it on a large scale, which creates a terrible chaos. So it's actually better not to know than to know something that is false. And think of them calling it false data stripping. So this is the problem, really. The problem, the real problem. Well, in terms of an update, I've spent some time learning Russian. This is so terrible because when I started learning Russian, they connect me to Russia. And when I started studying philosophy, they connect me to the students from the university. This on in the Pontifical University of John Paul II. And the connections they have established are the connections that I would never accept. So think of the stupidity. We could have made friends, and it could have been for, if not even more than a lifetime. And they have turned it all into a war. It's just unthinkable. I cannot understand it. This is simply beyond my comprehension. But this is exactly the idiocy and the retardedness I'm talking about. Agnieszka Beata Magdalena Rojek, the 28th of February 2021, 10 to 7 p.m. Krakow, Poland.